Oh, hey Ludo. Yeah, I'm just reminiscing. We've had a game that just takes you back to your childhood. Oh yeah, right, you're 2 years old. You're in your childhood. Anyway, I have that game, and it's Beyond Good and Evil. It's my favourite game of all time. It fundamentally changed how I viewed games as a medium and ultimately led me to becoming a game developer myself, and even starting this show with you. I owe a lot to this game, but in making this episode, I found something in the recent remaster that is driving me insane. I need answers to questions that I've been asking for over 20 years. Oh, you'll see. But firstly, you need a bit of context. So to set the stage, it's 2003 and I'm 9 years old, and 9-year-old Jay is a dumbass. Like most kids growing up in the 90s, I adored games, but we lived in this minuscule village in the heart of England, some real bag-end type shit, so much so that we had only one tiny shop to supply the entire village with essential supplies, so getting new games was a rare treat for me when we'd venture to the big city. But one day, in our tiny village shop, on one of those spinners usually used for porn or sweets, there was a game being sold for one single British pound. Now, even for 2003 standards, a PS2 game for £1 is an insane deal, especially considering it was within a few months of the game's release. Was it a pricing mistake or divine intervention? Well, regardless, little did my dad know about how much that decision to spend that £1 would impact my life and its trajectory. So just remember, when I go into all of these tiny details on how this game changed me, I was 9 and a dumbass. Still am. Yeah, fair. So Beyond Good and Evil follows the adventures of Jade. After her orphanage is ravaged by intergalactic invaders, she becomes entangled in a secret military conspiracy suppressing the planet's people, feeding them eagerly to what lies in the stars. Now, I was used to playing games like Crash Bandicoot, Pokemon or Beetle Adventure Racing for God's sake, which are games where platforming, collecting and racing all happen in isolation along linear tracks. So to open Beyond Good and Evil and find out that it's a story-driven, espionage, photography, stealth racing puzzle platformer all rolled into one just blew my tiny socks clean off. Yeah, now not all of these mechanics are created equal. Some are just there as little side tangents, but they all progress the narrative and feel holistic. So much so, they even went as far as to change how I viewed games as a medium. For example, Jade can use her camera to snap pictures of animals indigenous to the planet Hylas, which can then be sent off to be processed and documented. She's then paid for these with new camera upgrades and pearls. Now these pearls are the game's deterministic currency that can be spent to upgrade your main mode of transportation, the hovercraft, which is an integral part for how the game gates off progression and exploration. The cost of these upgrades are introduced to the player early on, conditioning the necessity for pearls and therefore the importance of the photography mechanic. And why this was so impactful to me as a child was how it changed how I viewed the game's world. Because of this lust for pearls, every animal you now see becomes important. That simple seagull in the sky, the school of fish playing beneath the waves, to the violent ambushing predators, what would usually be fluff in any other game is an integral part of the progression for Beyond Good and Evil, encouraging the careful study of the environments, sights and sounds to find these creatures during play. And this was a stark difference from how I was usually conditioned to play games in the past, going down simple tracks in one direction, taking in the sights but not mechanically encouraged to pay any attention. The simple addition of the photography mechanic and a meaningful deterministic currency completely rewired how I viewed games, their level designs, and in turn their stories. Because as your espionage escapades progress, protests and military presence increases as your investigations and reporting affect the world and its people. Now in hindsight, with 10 years of game design knowledge under my belt, these NPCs and animals are just cycling through contextual animations and they're just aesthetic divergences to the world. But to 9-year-old Jay, this world was alive and my actions were affecting it. It made me care about this world and its characters because of their designs, and there is no greater example of this in motion than with our boy Paige. Throughout your adventures, you're accompanied by, well, in my opinion, the best side character to ever exist, Paige, who is Jade's adopted father, but also a fucking pig man? It makes sense, alright? You're a talking animated dog, get over yourself. Anyway, I cannot overstate how lovable this bacon boy actually is. He's not just some escort mission NPC, he takes care of himself. He's sassy but caring, useful but vulnerable. Narratively, he's a joy to have around, but just like with most things, it's how he works mechanically that accentuates his narrative traits and makes players care. They do this by tying crucial progression mechanics to Paige instead of giving them to Jade. As simple as his multi-tool wrench, which is needed to cut through grates and repair certain mechanisms, or as wild as his rocket boots ass slam, which is scientifically explained to be entirely powered by farts. Yeah, I'm telling you, Ludo, you would love this game. Throughout your journey across Hillis, they build up our relationship and mechanical reliance on Paige, only to rip him away suddenly when a mission goes awry. Physically, emotionally, and mechanically taking him away from Jade. Now believe me when I say this, that 9-year-old Jade was on a fucking warpath to get Paige back. I'd never properly cared about a video game character's well-being before. Coco from Crash? My rival in Pokemon? On your bike, piss lips. But Paige, I would die for this bacon boy, and I believe this was entirely based around the careful balance of how his mechanical reliance encourages an emotional one at the same time. Also, him being taken away was a crucial moment for how I began to view level design. So where he's taken is a place called The Factory, a food processing plant that is a maze of corridors, guards and machinery. In the first half, Paige is extremely useful in fixing mechanical errors, opening gates and helping with combat, but once he's taken, the factory becomes way more foreboding. Because your goal is to get photographic evidence of the crimes being committed here without being detected, you have to crawl through its vents and underbelly, venturing down paths that seem like progress but loop you right back to where you began. These aren't paths of progression, that was just a vent. Now, these are simple techniques, but they go a long way at making the levels feel like a world instead of just a sequence of interconnected levels. Special attention was placed on the object permanence of this world. Slain bosses persist here. You're constantly looping back and returning to the same locations, but with a new perspective, be that with new information or mechanical ability to access parts of the world you couldn't before. And once this clicks in your head, which could be as early on as when you first acquire the hovercraft's jump ability, it encourages careful backtracking to scour every tiny detail of previously explored areas to see what was hidden right under your nose the entire time. It's all about perspective, but no single mechanic has had as big of an impact on my perspective on games as a whole than with the Beluga. Oh yeah, okay, so Ludo, I'm about to go into major story spoilers, so if you want to play this, plug your ears. Okay. Throughout the game, you and Paige have been repairing, upgrading and sailing around in your trusty hovercraft. All of its upgrades are directly tied to the type of content you access. Then, our beautiful pork daddy and even all of the orphan kids get jettisoned off to the moon with no hope in sight. But luckily, Paige had a plan. Encoded and left for us on a message handed to Jade midway through the game. The codes to its secret location carved into the soles of his shoes. Paige had hidden a spacecraft upgrade to the hovercraft right under our noses the entire time. But wait there just 1 second. Do you think 9-year-old Jay actually read this message? Fuck no. I was too busy taking pictures of manta rays or picking my own arse or something. This M-disc flew right over my head. So when I got to this point, I had no idea what to do. I completed every race, took every picture, bought every single upgrade I could. I scoured every single inch of this game apart from the one place that had the actual answers. Ugh. Then, in a complete act of desperation, I started just inspecting all of the items I had, looking for some thread to pull. Then, I found them. The hidden codes on Paige's rocket boots. They must be connected to the 2 panels I found in the lighthouse. Going as fast as I could, I inputted the codes one by one to reveal the Beluga. Now remember, I had no idea this thing existed. In my mind, I'd uncovered the codes to some completely hidden secret, so when I finally activated the ship and soared into the skies of Hillis, the seas and waterways I'd been shackled to for so long below me, I cannot explain how it felt. Going from being tethered to the ground, exploring worlds through narrow corridors and pathways in previous games, to stumbling across this amount of freedom, accessing new areas hidden right under my nose the entire time, it felt like, well, flying. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, let's top it all off by buying the final upgrade which allows us to fly into space. Is that a fucking space whale? Oh, 9-year-old Jay just transcended. It's just perfect. Oh shit. Ludo, you can listen again now. Oh, I was just talking about how perfect it all is. Oh, yeah, okay, maybe the stealth sections were a bit garbage. Yeah, oh, and Francis. Yeah, this game has taught me to love, but it has also taught me to fucking hate. I loathe this air hockey playing cretin. Yeah, in 2024, it's not a problem, but to 9-year-old me, I could not beat him to save my life. No matter how much I tried, I just couldn't beat this guy, and to top it all off, he emails you to rub it in your face while I'm off trying to save the planet from intergalactic cannibalism. Nah, mate, you're so square, yeah, that you couldn't get through airport security because you yourself classify as an edged weapon. This is a dumb joke. Regardless of its flaws, it does not change how this game affected me directly, leading to my new interest on how games are actually made. It may have creases, but it's all good because those creases can just be ironed out and expanded on in the sequel, right? Right? Oh shit, yeah. Now, as you can see, I'm in fact not 9 years old anymore. Wait, I just realised I'm animated, so I actually have no age attached to me. Anyway, I'm 30 this year, and I've been waiting 20 long years for a sequel to Beyond Good and Evil to actually come out. Now, it would be fine if this game originally came out, didn't perform well enough, and slowly became a beloved cult classic. There are too many examples of those games to count. But what really gets my ass hair in a twist is the teasing. Firstly, in 2008 at an Ubi Days event, they announced Beyond Good and Evil had a sequel in the works with a full CGI trailer to boot. Finally, I thought. Cue 9 long years of waiting, in which I used the time to train and become entrenched in the games industry myself as a designer and uni lecturer, with not a single mention of Beyond Good and Evil 2 outside of small whispers on the wind. Then, to the amazement of many, a huge reveal in 2017 that a prequel was currently in development. The director himself tearing up on stage for the amount of effort, dedication and time it had taken to finally get another attempt to bring this world back to life. But then the cracks started to show. The first signs that something wasn't right was a survey I was asked to complete around 6 months after the game's announcement. The major problem here was a section that asked what would you like Beyond Good and Evil 2 to be, with options such as would you like a PvP game, a multiplayer game, a story-driven game. This did not fill me with confidence at the time because it implies that this deep into development, the developers themselves didn't have a concrete idea of what the game was going to be. But nonetheless, I put my faith in the team that had created such 10 out of 10 experiences in the past. Let them cook. Then, after a few years of no information from the team, the creative director Michel Ancel stepped down from their position, for reasons that I will not go into here because it would be disrespectful to all parties involved to only speak to rumours, but this would have undoubtedly had a huge impact on the game as a whole. Shortly to follow, the new director Emile Morel unexpectedly and tragically passed away. Saddened, I followed all of these events closely, and friends in the industry relentlessly teased me and told me it was going to be cancelled and to just give up on it. But I didn't. That 9-year-old in me just couldn't let go. Every year a new Ubisoft conference came along, and I hoped for a scrap of information, and year after year, nothing came. 2024, this year, comes along, Beyond Good and Evil's 20th anniversary. Surely, at their event, they must mention something. But no, Second Wind fans getting to see my disappointment live. But then, what's this? They shadow dropped a fully remastered 20th anniversary edition of Beyond Good and Evil. Why wasn't this mentioned at the event? This remaster has clearly been handcrafted with so much love and attention to detail, making it playable for a new generation. And wait, they've added a new secret treasure hunt that hints towards Jade and Paige's past with the previous crew members of their pirate adventures, directly connecting it to Beyond Good and Evil 2. A sequel must still be in development, so much so that they are directly hinting towards it and trying to drum up hype with the fans about it. I can't take this anymore. 20 years of this ball tickling. This has turned into Beyond Good and Edging. I need to grow up. I did, Ludo. I have grown up waiting for this game to come out, and you know what? So have these devs. They've been working on it for so many years, trying to breathe life into this world. Once again, I need to know what's happening. Ludo, take this. Take this letter and run. Fly, my princess. Show us the meaning of haste. That's a message going directly to the team at Ubisoft. I need to be involved in this in any way I can. I'm a fellow dev. I'll sign a fucking NDA. This ain't for clout or to get a scoop. 9-year-old Jay needs to know what is going on because I can't take this anymore. Oh, God. Oh, God, my head. I guess we'll have to see if Ubisoft ever respond to Ludo's letter, or if I'll be trapped in the edging dimension for another 20 years. Regardless, thanks for indulging me in reliving my childhood. Did you also have a game that similarly impacted you as a kid? And did you also develop a weird psychic relationship with a non-existent sequel? Probably not, because you're well-adjusted and normal. Alright, I'm gonna try and sleep this headache off. Wake me up if Ubisoft respond. Bye!
If you've been enjoying our work for the past 6 months and want to help make sure we're sustainable for the long haul, joining us over on Patreon is the best way to make that happen. You can get a ton of great perks like ad-free podcasts, some written columns from Darren and Mooney and occasionally other writers, merch discounts, monthly movie nights, voting for the Game Yahtzee reviews during the summer game drought, and more. Your support so far has allowed us to continue bringing you the content you enjoy unimpeded, and we look forward to doing so for many more years to come. We release our financials publicly to you once a quarter so you can see how the business is doing and where your money is going. You can view our latest report for Q2 over on Patreon, the YouTube community tab, Twitter, or our Discord. Along with all the series, streams, and podcasts you've come to love, we have a lot of exciting things on the horizon. Be on the lookout for our new entertainment podcast, The Rewind, Marty's new retro show, The Archive, our upcoming Animal Well documentary, and the next big video from Good Blood, Metal Gear Untold. All coming soon to Second Wind.
Hey Patreon lot, it's Jay. Who'd have thought? Well, I just wanted to stop by and say how special it was that I got to make this video. Not just because it was celebrating a game that was so near and dear to my childhood, but also because in my YouTube career, the first video I ever made was on Beyond Good and Evil. So it's been really, really rewarding to revisit that video and remake it for you guys, basically. It's been delisted, so you're not going to be able to watch it, and please don't go search for it. But I wanted to say thank you to all the Patrons for just making this possible, and by this I mean this show and everything. I love you guys dearly, and thank you so much. Alright, see you later.